Okay, so why don't we get started? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Syracuse University International Relations Program event. Happy to have you here. My name is Osamah Khalil. I'm a professor here in the history department. I'm also the chair of the IR program. And I'm joined by Amy Kennedy, I think some of you can see, who is the academic advisor for the IR program. So before we get started, I'll tell you a little about myself. And I received my PhD from UC Berkeley. I've been here at SU for about 10 years. I teach a number of classes at Syracuse related to U.S. foreign policy, the modern Middle East, the Cold War, history of international relations, and a number of classes related to popular culture. Also going to turn it over to Amy. Amy, do you want to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. As Professor Khalil mentioned, I am an academic advisor for the International Relations Program. I've been here for about 10 years. I have a master's degree in international relations from Syracuse University. And prior to working as an academic advisor, I was in Washington, D.C. working on USAID food security programs and international development. So happy to be here and help answer some of the questions you may have.
So great. We have a brief presentation, but before we start that, it'd be good to know just a little bit more about those of you who are joining us. Can I ask, and here you can use the raise your hand function, how many are joining us internationally outside the US? If you don't mind raising your hand. Okay, great. So those who are joining internationally, are you presently living in Asia? Keep your hand raised. Okay. How about Africa? South America? Latin America? Anybody from Europe? Middle East? You'll learn a little bit why I'm asking those questions in a bit. Now, those of who are, thank you. Thanks for those of you who are from the US, again, using the raise your hand function. How many of you are from the East Coast? Do you mind raising your hand? Great. How about the West Coast? The West Coast contingent? How about the Midwest? Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And thanks again for joining us. So we have a brief presentation to introduce you to the major in the program. And then Amy and I are happy to answer any questions you might have. We also have the chat function open, so you can feel free to post some questions there. So those of you who weren't able or aren't able to visit the Syracuse campus, or you haven't been before, it's a picture of the quad. Okay. So who or what is the IR program here at Syracuse? So a couple of program highlights and a little bit about our students. So at Syracuse, it's an interdisciplinary, academically rigorous program. And we'll talk more about what that means. But it's also a very vibrant and welcoming community here in the IR program. And as we'll talk about, our students are very active, they're very engaged both in the program and across the university and globally. Now, we are housed in the Maxwell School, one of the top public policy schools in the country. And you're going to get to benefit from across the social sciences and the Maxwell School, drawing on our faculty across the Maxwell School, as well as the IR program's faculty. And we also have individualized academic advising. So if you join us, we hope you do, roughly 250 active students currently as IR majors, the third largest major in the Maxwell School. About 20% of our students are international. Over half have at least one major. Some have more, some are more than double majors, and some have multiple minors. And over 70% study abroad or in our Washington, D.C. program. We'll talk more about that. So, the IR major. We have a Bachelor of Arts degree, and as I'll talk about in a bit, we're going to be introducing a Bachelor's of Science. So beginning in the fall, when you come in, it's a 36 credit degree. You'll have 3 introductory courses, one in economics, one in political science, and then our Max course. This is one that all students admitted to the Maxwell School take on the global community. You have 2 research methods courses, one an introductory course and then an advanced course. You will be expected to be proficient in a foreign language. up through the 202 level. So 2 years of foreign language. And we can talk more about that and what that means. And then, of course, there are 6 upper division courses in the concentration of your choice. And we'll talk more about what those concentrations are in a moment. And then you conclude with the senior capstone project. So this is a faculty advised research, original research project that's based off your concentrations in your coursework. It's your senior thesis. We'll talk a little more about that if you have questions about that. So of course, what can I do with it? Well, we're happy to say you can do a lot with an IR degree. And we boast a number of really prominent alumni who are doing great work, not just in the United States, but internationally. Working in government, in the foreign service, in the diplomatic corps, working for international organizations, NGOs, the private sector. A number of my students have gone on to really prestigious law schools and graduate schools and done really great work. So there's a lot you can do with an IR degree, and it's really up to you. You can tailor it, and we'll help you tailor it to what meets your needs and what we think, what you want to do, and what we really thinks matches your interests and where you see your career or your academic interests going in the future. So what are the concentrations? Let's talk a little bit about that. This might not mean much now, but we'll talk more about it if you have questions. So right now we have 4 major concentrations. Some of these will appeal to you almost immediately, and some you may not really know what they are. And then in the fall, when you come in, we're introducing several new ones that you can draw on. So international security and diplomacy, international political economy, intercultural communication, and international law and organizations. And there are several regions that we cover: Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and the Middle East and North Africa. And beginning in fall 2020, we're introducing several new concentrations: global health and the environment, migration, human rights, international development, and global governance. Now, what we're also introducing in fall 2020 is a Bachelor of Science degree. So we are one of the few, and we'll talk more about this, IR programs in the country that has a Bachelor of Science, and it really differentiates Syracuse from a number of other schools. Now, this is not for everybody, but I'm putting it up here and we can talk a little more about it. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me or ask. It's a 48 credit degree versus the 36 for the BA, 4 introductory courses. There's a lot of similarities. You also have those concentration courses and then what we're calling upper division skills courses. And of course, you do a capstone project. So what do you do with it? Well, this is the kind of degree, if you're interested in cybersecurity, if you're interested in data analytics, policy planning, management consulting, as well as a number of the other from the BA, it's also ideal for those as well. But again, it's not for everybody. So we're happy to talk more about that and what that might mean, and you have time to think about it. So SU abroad. As I mentioned, some 75% of our students go abroad or to Washington, and there's really a number of places to choose from. So in the orange, these are our SU abroad campuses. That includes Santiago, Chile, Madrid, which has a wonderful campus, Strasbourg, Florence, which has a beautiful campus, but also London. And then we have our partner in Hong Kong. We also have our partner programs. Those are in the blue. So you have a number of places you can choose from, and some of our students do more than one. Now, as I mentioned, there's a really vibrant community here at Syracuse and a lot of activities for students. So on the right, you see a picture of our Model UN team, and then on the left, a number of things you can do. So we have what's known as our IR learning community. This is a chance for you to live first year in the dorms with other IR students and get to know them. And many stay friends for the next 4 years. Many go abroad together. We have a number of student clubs and organizations, everything from Oxfam to our own International Relations Club, as well as the Model UN Club and the Model UN team. Now, as you start to advance here, and you maintain a high academic standing, you'll be eligible for our Sigma Iota Rho Honor Society, the International Affairs Honor Society. Other things students can do, you'll have access and the ability to attend and participate in student conferences, whether it's at West Point Military Academy or at Annapolis, but also we We sponsor students to go to European Union conferences. Depends on your area of study, what you're interested in. There's any number of things you can attend. And that includes organizing your own conference or student-led conference here, as well as our own Maxwell undergraduate research conference that we hold at the end of every spring semester. And there are a number of opportunities for to do undergraduate research. This includes beginning at the end of your freshman year and all the way to your senior year, where we have our own undergraduate research assistant program, where you can work with a faculty mentor or in one of the Maxwell School's major research centers that we have here. Now, for those of you who really excel, and a number of our students do, they also take part and they're eligible for our distinction program. This not only gives you the opportunity to produce an original research project, but to graduate with distinction, to present at an academic conference, and the opportunity to publish your senior thesis project. So there really are a world of opportunities here at Syracuse and at the Maxwell School. So among the things that we host as a major academic institution, as a top public policy school, are leading speakers and events who will come visit, especially we've had like everybody else because of COVID with webinars, but pre-COVID, and we hope again post-COVID, to be hosting a number of major events, key diplomats from around the world, including former policymakers and current policymakers who've come to Maxwell. We also have, as I mentioned, our Maxwell in Washington program. And so that's a chance for you to spend a semester in Washington with a key internship. We have presently this semester, we have 13 students in Washington. In the fall, we have 18 planned to go. A number are doing internships at the State Department in different agencies. Some are doing with different think tanks or other policy-related groups. And the same thing for the fall. And so you'll take classes as well as have an internship out of our Maxwell in Washington office. There's also what's known as our Fast Track MAIR program. So if you maintain among our top students the ability to graduate with a master's degree with an extra year here at Maxwell, so you complete your undergraduate and your senior year, you also start taking graduate classes and then stay an additional year to finish. But, and Amy, I'm sure we'll be happy to talk more about this. We also have a very vibrant professional development workshops and an alumni mentorship program that draws on the Maxwell School's really deep bench of alumni who are very active and very engaged. So as some of you are probably wondering, where do our students end up? And really, they're everywhere, working on global issues in a range of professions and doing really remarkable things. So whether it's in government, in the nonprofit sector, the public sector, or in the private sector, working for international organizations, law and grad school. And what you'll see is as you come to Syracuse is how diverse it is, both from a student population, but also geographically diverse, and a really engaged alumni base. And so some of our recent employers where we have placed students, Department of State, Department of Justice, World Bank, Peace Corps, the Near East Foundation, which is a major non-governmental organization that's actually based in Syracuse, but works in the Near East and North Africa. And so these are just a few of the places where our students have gone. So we'll come back to, we'll put this up for you for some contact, but that is our brief presentation. Can we answer some questions?